Good morning, students. Welcome to Math Lesson 96, April 9th, 2020. All right, today we are using reciprocals to divide fractions. So, reciprocals help us in division problems, such as this problem. We have 1/2 divided by 2/3. The problem means how many 2/3 are in a half. So, however, since 2/3 is more than a half, the answer is going to be less than 1. So we change the question to how much of 2/3 is in a half? All right. So this problem is different from the problems that we've been solving. To solve this problem, we will use another method. The method uses reciprocals to help us find the answer. So we begin by asking a different question. How many 2/3 are there in 1? Once we know how many 2/3 are in 1, then we can find how much of 2/3 is in a half. So, how many 2/3 are in 1? The answer is 3/2, which is the reciprocal of 2/3. The number of 2/3 in a half is half. The number of 2/3 in 1. So we multiply 3/2 by 1/2. And here we go. Here's our problem. All right, we have the half, then we have the reciprocal of 2/3. 3/2. Then we multiply. 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 2 is 4. So this method changes the division problem into a multiplication problem, which we actually have already done some of, haven't we? All right, so here is exactly what we have just done. All right, so the answer is 3/4, and that represents part of what whole? The whole we had originally was half. All right, so up here I want you to draw your attention to two numbers whose product is 1 are called reciprocals, which basically that just means when you take 1/3 and you multiply it times 3/1, they equal 1 whole, right? All right, our next problem. For example, 1, we have 2/3 divided by a half. So we are finding the number of halves in 2/3. This is the opposite of what we just did, isn't it? So I have 2/3 divided by half. Then I do the reciprocal, so I flip these around and I do 2/3 times 2. All right, so 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 1 is 3. Then I need to, of course, simplify because I am a 5th grader and I am so smart, right? So 3 goes into 4 once. We have 1 left over, and 3 is our denominator. Now, for example 2, we are dividing the whole number 2 by 2/3. So we are finding the number of 2/3 in 2. All right, so we have 2/1 because that's the whole number 2, correct? And then we are dividing it by 2/3. Well, then we are finding the reciprocal. 2/1 is 2 times 3/2. So 2 times 3 is 6. 1 times 2 is 2. Well, we need to divide the 6 by 2, and our answer is 3. All right, there are 3 2/3 in 2. All right, so next we are going to go into our lesson practice. All right, and I like to write this down to make it a little easier. All right, so let's start with A. Our first problem. So I am not going to use quite so many words when I do these as we did when we were working on through the lesson practice, or through our lesson. All right, so I continue to have my 1/3. But I need to do the reciprocal, right? So I change this into a multiplication problem. So I put the 2 up above, and there I go. All right, so 1 times 2 is 2. 3 times 1 is 3. 2/3 is my answer to the problem. All right, now I have 2/3 divided by 3/4. Of course, I'm going to do the reciprocal of 3/4, which is 4/3. I'm going to multiply those numbers. 2 times 4 is 8. 3 times 3 is 9. So I have 8/9 for my next problem. All right, let's go on to C. C, I have 2/3 again. Now I need my reciprocal of a 4th, which is 4/1. Turn this into multiplication. 2 times 4 is 8. 3 times 1 is 3. Now I have an improper fraction, which I know that you all know you need to change this into a mixed number. 3 goes into 8 2 times. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 subtract 8 is 2/3. All right, so your answer to that problem is 2 2/3. The next problem, 1/2 divided by 1/3. My 1/2 stays the same. I find the reciprocal of 1/3, which is 3. I multiply. 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 goes into 3 one time, and I have a half. And there you go. Down here to E. 3/4. I find my reciprocal, 3/2. I multiply. I change that into multiplication. 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 2 is 8. That's an improper fraction, so I know 8 goes into 9 one time, and I have 1/8 left over. I better finish before my pen loses all of its ink, huh? So my next problem has a whole number. I put that whole number over the 1. That is still 3. Now I need to find the reciprocal for 3/4, and it is 4/3. I multiply. 3 times 4 is 12. 1 times 3 is 3. And I know that equals whole number 4. All right, I have a whole number here again. I'm going to put that 2/1. Find the reciprocal of 1/3. Multiply. 2 times 3 is 6. 1 times 1 is 1, and this equals 6. Here we go, 3/1. Oops, I better show you that problem. Find my reciprocal of 2/3, which is 3/2. Multiply. 3 times 3 is 9. 1 times 2 is 2. Need to simplify. 2 goes into 9 4 times, right? That would be 4 1/2. All right, we're skipping to J. So they were talking about in our problems earlier, how many 1/3 are in 3/4? How many 1/3 are in 3/4? So when you say it like that, you still have your 3/4, but you need to find your reciprocal of 1/3. Multiply. 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 goes in. I need to simplify, of course. 4 goes into 9 2 times, and I have 1/4 left. All right, and last but not least, the next question on K, they are asking how much of 3/4 is in 1/3. So they're trying to find out how many 3/4 there are in 1/3. So how much of 3/4 is in 1/3? So I keep my 1/3. I do my reciprocal of 3/4, which we've done plenty of. It's 4/3, and I multiply. 1 times 4 is 4. 3 times 3 is 9. And voila, there we are at the end of our practice. All right, now today, instead of having a mystery word, my mystery word today is actually going to be the fact that I am going to reduce the number of problems you have to do today. So today I want you to do problems 1 through 25. Don't tell the other people. You got to listen to the whole video to know that you only have to do 1 through 25 today in your written practice. All right, see you later. Have a good day.